Thousands entered the qualifiers, 32 battled it out in the Premier League, and now there are just 8 warriors left. Who claims the title of Champion of Europe? We're about to find out. This is the WCS Europe Season 1 Finals. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the WCS Europe Season 1 Finals of the Premier League. And we have the best crowd in the house right now too. Okay, let's explain where we are right now. This is, of course, part of the first season of WCS Europe, but we also have other regions taking place right now as well. There's North America and Korea. 5 from each of those will qualify for the season-ending finals for Season 1, plus 1 for the host region, which for the first season will be played in Korea. That's right. We also have Season 1 finishing in Europe today. Well, actually, over the weekend, to be precise. We've got our quarterfinals today. 8 men who have battled their way through from the round of 32. Here is the bracket right now. We're going to start off with Happy versus DIMAGA. Oh, no cheering there. And then we'll move on to the hometown favourite, TLO versus MVP. We'll also have Lucifron versus 4GG in the all-Terran battle. And at the end of the day, Stefano versus the last Protoss left in the competition, of course, Baby Knight. So there's your quarter-final. It's going to be an amazing, amazing day of StarCraft 2. And not only that, Carmack is here holding the boarding pass for the top 5 players who will all go off to Korea for the WCS Season 1 Finals. So that's what they're going to be getting. So plenty to play for today. As well as Carmack, we also have a few other people to introduce you to today. So come over with me here to the analysis desk, because we don't just have one analysis this time. We have 2 analysers. It's great to have you back. It's great to have you back. We've got Todd, everyone. So, Todd, congratulations, Premier League next season. So you can't do any casting.
Who says I can?
Well, we'll have to talk about that. Anyway, congratulations on your win in Premier League. Fantastic run through. Let's talk about today now. WCS Season 1 Finals, the last 8. Who's the winner for you?
My Protoss heart believes in Baby Knights. My patriotism says Stefano, but my head says a Terran. One of the very strong 4 Terrans we have here should be able to take it.
So you're going for a Terran overall, okay. Also doing analysis for us today will be Apollo once more, back again. Great to have you here, Sean. It's been a fantastic tournament. We're going to get some amazing highlights this weekend, but is there anything in particular that you're looking forward to? Any particular matchup?
All the matchups are going to be good today. TLO versus MVP is going to be a good one, but I'm mostly interested in 4GG versus Lucifron. You've got a guy that wins 94% of Terran versus Terran games versus a guy that beat a 4-time GSL champion in the previous round. I think that's probably my highlight.
All right, well, we'll see how they do. Thank you very much, both of you. We'll see both of these gentlemen a little later on, after each of the matches, in fact. The first match, thank you. That's good. Thank you very much, guys. The first match, of course, we will have Apollo and Kalaris casting. But before that, let's introduce you to someone else as part of the team. It is the Hubner. And, of course, Mr. Philip Hubner will be monitoring all of the social media. He'll be checking out on Twitter, Twitch, chat, Reddit threads, live reports on Team Liquid, and of course Facebook. And you can join us on all of those formats. Just use the hashtag #WCS when you're tweeting on Twitter. And there's a little bit of a competition coming up for you to win some goodies, StarCraft orientated, later on as well. Don't forget @StarCraft and /StarCraft on Facebook, on Twitter, the official StarCraft account as well, and also ESL TV, at ESL TV on Twitter, as well as on /facebook.com. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for our first quarter-final, but before we get into it, let's check in with our players first.
My name is Dmitry Kostin. I'm more known as Happy. I'm from Russia, Moscow, and I play Terran. My style in StarCraft 2, I think it's heavily macro-based. I think my macro is slowly but improving.
Oh, those splits were so good there by Happy as well, avoiding storms. He doesn't even care at that point, he's just going to run them down.
I actually think all the Koreans are stronger than anyone else, but as we've seen, MMA went out already, which is surprising for me. Whoever reaches a round of 8 is a very strong player. When I knew who my opponents in my group, I was thinking like I got rather lucky because there are 2 groups that are easier than the other 2, but still it's not easy opponents. So I'm glad that I haven't any TVT because it's my worst matchup. I didn't make any special research for any opponent, but let's say I know how each of them plays. I knew that Baby Knight likes very aggressive style, and Vortex, I'll be honest, I had no idea how he plays because I haven't seen him play a lot in Heart of the Swarm.
Happy's trying to nibble slowly at him. He knows that this is going to be do or die here for Vortex. He's going to take down that base super quick though. Those Ultralisks going to try and march on out as well. A lot of connections from Marauders though, trying to fire down onto this army from that high ground.
So I was quite worried about my matchup against Vortex. I don't think I'll be playing like 24 hours per day. I think if I'm not good enough, training for 1 week won't change anything. So I just keep playing and see what happens. Honestly, I'm already satisfied because I wanted to at least stay in the Premier League so I don't have to play Challenger qualifiers. So whatever the rest will be, I think it will be okay.
So, that's the Russian Happy. He goes head-to-head in the quarterfinals with, frankly, a bit of a favourite with the crowd. It is the one and only DIMAGA.
Hello, my name is Dmitry Filipchuk. I'm from Ukraine, from city Chernivtsi, and I'm playing Zerg. I think I have a quite passive style of playing. Obviously, I'm playing like solid plays, and you can react to kind of everything. You can play like one build order and react to everything, but it's almost impossible, so you have to take risk. When I find out my group with Fizz, Stefano, and Torzen, I was thinking, it's a tough group. After everything, I think I have very good draw for me, that group, compared to others. I just married like not long time ago, like 1 year, and everything is going really perfect in everything, especially when I'm losing, because you know, like when you're winning, like everybody, yeah, you're so good, grats and other stuff, but when you're losing, it's like we're always tough.
DIMAGA knows he is in a commanding position. The 2 siege tanks are going to try and hold on, but the Mutalisks fly in, trying to pick off one. The second one goes down to the Roaches as well. All there is left is Marines. GG, well played!
When I saw GG from Torzen, I didn't believe that I can win such a game, especially last and decider. I was just have so many emotions, like I was just showing like, oh yeah, I do it. This like was really amazing, I love it. I remember I was doing as well against Mana in assembly finals. I was losing 2-0 in best of 5 final, and then I come back with 3-2. It's just like, I don't know, just like going from you, I don't know, it's just cool. My goal was to go to the round of 8, because if you're going to the round of 8, you will play Premier League next season. It's like my goal was. So right now, I know my opponent, it's Empire Happy. He's very solid and strong player. I play him a lot in ladder. I will try to do my best, and I hope luck will be on my side again.
So, there's both our 2 players' stories. How's it going to pan out between these 2 Eastern European giants in StarCraft 2? Well, before we get to the game, let's have a quick check-in with the versus matchup between these 2 sides, 2 players, and find out how they got this far. They both, of course, competed earlier on in the round of 32 and the round of 16. Some impressive results between both of them. Hasselhoff's, Bly, Vortex, all being taken down, and Baby Knight as well by Happy. And DIMAGA equally also had some great results against Zoka, MVP, Feast, and Thorzane. Obviously, just that one reverse loss against the Swede in amongst those as well. So, here we go, ladies and gents. It's time to get our game on. It's game one, DIMAGA versus Happy. Here's your commentary team. It's Kalaris and Apollo.
Thanks very much, Paul. Welcome to the Caster's Desk here for the World Championship Series Europe Season 1 Finals. We kick things off with a pretty good match in the form of Happy versus DIMAGA.
The quarterfinals and the first match, as you just stated, very excited for this. I think excited is kind of an understatement.
Yeah.
I am thrilled to be here today alongside you, Clark. We're going to have a lot of fun for sure.
Really are. These two players, they've already proved themselves very, very well during this season. We've had Happy, who's dispatched of people like Blight and Vortex in this matchup, and then DIMAGA, who's taken out MVP and Thorzane during all of this as well. We're here in the map vetoes now. Only one veto each, though, as it is now best of 5 here.
That's right, a best of 5. Happy gets to choose because he won his group. DIMAGA was second in his group. Happy chooses who vetoes first. As you can see, DIMAGA's already vetoed at Daybreak.
Yeah.
And that means that Happy gets the next map pick, which is Star Station.
And that's the one great advantage of having that higher seed. If you pick your opponent to choose first, then he vetoes out a map that you might have wanted to veto to begin with. So
that's right.
Very, very strategic there by Happy.
So now we're going into the actual map selection. DIMAGA has to choose which map they will start off this best of 5 on. And he's taken a while here.
I mean, that's very, very important for him here. Going up against Happy, arguably, a lot of people are pegging Happy to do very, very well here. It's going to be difficult for DIMAGA. I mean, despite taking out MVP and Thorzane during the entirety of the season thus far, Happy is looking really good right now.
I personally, I would say that Happy is the favorite coming into this.
Yeah.
The fan favorite may be DIMAGA,
That's
but
true.
in actual results in history, Happy definitely for me here, as he's played such a solid tournament so far, really blossoming in the round of 16, where he didn't drop a single map. We now have the maps we'll show you very shortly as the players get ready to go to their... well, he disappeared.
Yeah, Happy's just, he's gone.
I was like expecting him to come out behind that banner. He didn't come out. I was like, oh.
Wait a minute.
He's gone.
But now DIMAGA taking his seat for this first game. And again, you're right, Happy here, he's looked phenomenal throughout his time here during WCS EU, and all the doubts of him will he perform offline strongly here have kind of been completely dispelled. He looked great during the round of 16.
It's super interesting you say that, because in the round of 32, which was online, he was looking shaky in an area where he usually performs well. But when he came to the round of 16, came to Cologne here in Germany, he went 2-0, 2-0 versus Vortex and Baby Knight and showed some of the best Terran games that we've seen all season long. DIMAGA, though, if we look at him right now, he narrowly made it today into the round of 8.
No, you're right. That last game versus Thorzane in the round of 16 was really a nail-biter. If he hadn't have been able to get those lings in there to actually do some damage at the natural, then he would have been very, very down and out. If you can't actually recall that game, basically DIMAGA took a very, a big risk early on, which did not pay off for him, but then he was allowed in later on.
All right, so here are the maps. Whirlwind is the first map. DIMAGA, we saw, had the first map choice there, so picking a big open map. And we'll go into strategies on the maps a little bit later here. Akelon Waste is the second map here, going over to Happy's pick. I like that pick for Happy. A nice, an easily taken third command center. The location's nice and easy to defend. Then over to Newkirk, then Neoplanet S, and then finally Belshire Vestige. What do you think about those maps?
Good series of maps to kind of wrap things up here for our 5 games. Newkirk Precinct's really kind of going to be the focal point, I feel, because it can be really, really difficult for some Zergs to kind of gather traction on that map. If Happy's allowed to play a very, very abusive and aggressive style that he can sometimes go for. But that's the thing about Happy now. He plays so solid, and Heart of the Swarm has really lent itself so well to Happy's play style.
Yes, Happy has a great set of builds and strategies. He has 2 main builds, and looking at the map selection, Whirlwind. I want to talk about that for a second. DIMAGA's map choice is Whirlwind, and I think it was not so much that I want to play on Whirlwind. I think if everything comes down and I'm going to look pretty good after, I think DIMAGA said, I want you to play on Whirlwind. I want to see what you're going to do there. And if I'm correct, I think we may see mech in game number 1 here. And it's a strategy that is used maybe 1/10 of games from Happy. So I think that DIMAGA's gone ahead and said, I'm going to put you on that 1/10 game. I know you haven't played mech that much. I know it's not your strongest point because you love to play Biomine. Let's see what you can do on Whirlwind.
That's a very, very cool point, because in essence, when you're in something like a best of 5, it's more drawn out in comparison to a best of 3. That's a given.
Yes.
But that way, you can vet exactly what your opponent is going to be doing here against you going into that kind of best of 5 mentality. Establishing what they do early on can really help you out later on.
Yeah, and that's the great thing about later stages of a tournament, best of 5s and best of 7s really bring out the StarCraft player within you.
Yeah.
Because you need to think of a game plan. It's no longer just one map or 1 to 3 maps in a best of 3. It's now, I need to think about, do I open up aggressive? Do I put my opponent on a difficult position to begin the series off? Do I wait for my, my stronger maps to come in at the end or at the beginning? And that's why I think DIMAGA's first map choice Whirlwind is putting pressure onto his opponent from the get-go. And then from here on out, Happy gets to come back onto his maps. But DIMAGA is looking for a win in game number 1. Absolutely looking for a win here.
Yeah. Definitely, definitely. And the thing is that for DIMAGA, in the round of 16, we saw a lot of very aggressive builds against Terran, opening with a lot of roaches and stuff like that.
Yes.
Well, at least going into the mid-game. And kind of detail that. Against someone like Happy here for us, do you think that's something we're going to see here again?
Yeah, I mean, that's the other point that DIMAGA's chosen this map. He pushes his opponent into mech, and then that allows DIMAGA to play his own style Roach Hydralisk. So I think we're going to see a very heavy Roach Hydra play, maybe some anti-mech build coming out from DIMAGA. If that's his thought process, I could be way off and we may not even see this, but if that's right, then I think that's how DIMAGA is going to approach this series.
All right, so we are going to take a little bit of a look to see what these players had as thoughts going into this first best of 5.
Your first opponent today, DIMAGA, how well do you know him as a player?
I'm well aware of his play style. We played a lot of ladder and on a few tournaments.
What is going to be the key to beating him?
I think I just practice it more, so I think I have a better chance of winning.
Does it make it extra special that you guys are from the same region? Does it add to the rivalry?
No, I don't think so. Maybe some people may think like that, but I don't think players actually care. We just have to play the match. That's all that matters.
You are said to be a little bit of a predictable player. Are you concerned at all that DIMAGA studied you and will prepare special timings just against you?
Well, we'll see, but I actually don't think so. He just knows how I play, but I don't think he will prepare something special, just will play his standard game and will try his best.
Do you have anything to say to DIMAGA or maybe to your fans?
Well, good luck to DIMAGA, and thanks for the fans for cheering, not just for me, but for everyone that play here.
DIMAGA, your first game, Happy. Are you nervous? How do you feel about this game?
Right now I'm not nervous, but I'm sure I will be nervous in game, and I will try to deal with it. I don't know how I will deal with it, so we'll see how it will be.
What's going to be the key to victory here?
I think honestly it will be all-ins from my side.
Does this mean you're not confident in beating Happy in a long game?
Kinda, because he has really greedy and at the same time really aggressive builds. So I think it's much better to just try all in him.
What do you have to say to Happy, who's from the same part of the world as you? Does that make the game any bit special?
I think it's a little bit special, especially for Russian community, Russian CIS community, and what I want to say, just good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so getting into this first best of 5, Happy said that he wasn't exactly too worried about his predictability, but then we had DIMAGA mentioning that he may end up using a lot of all-ins here. So, Apollo, what have you got for us on that?
All right, well, if you look at the recent trends in Terran vs. Zerg player, who's the #1 Terran player that springs to mind every single time? Innovation. This guy is incredibly good. No Zerg player yet has been able to beat him in a straight-up game. Happy plays a similar style. DIMAGA's going to look for aggression, and he's going to look to hit hard.
It really is now as we go into our first game here. Happy versus DIMAGA, the first quarterfinal of the World Championship Series Europe Season 1 Finals. As we have spawning down to the bottom left-hand corner here as our red Terran. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Happy. Representing Russia. Team Empire here. He always looks so focused. And spawning up to the top right as our blue Zerg, trying to contend against the Terran Menace. Give it up for DIMAGA. Representing the Ukraine.
Oh, DIMAGA. All right, so, in all honesty, a lot of people are backing DIMAGA today, but this is going to be difficult. This is going to be an incredibly tough match for him. Happy is looking amazing. It's the best form we've seen Happy play forever in StarCraft.
Yeah, it really is here. Happy is just looking so phenomenal. And again, it comes back to that fact that he's always played a very solid style, but in StarCraft 2 Wings of Liberty, it was vulnerable to things that because it just wasn't as active in terms of that solidity. But now in Heart of the Swarm, he has much more tools to his use here.
Yeah.
And that really helps Happy out.
I mean, Terran players in general, in Heart of the Swarm, they've just been given advantages. There's nothing that's really been taken away. Medivac's got faster. Mines are in replacement for tanks because they're cheaper and more efficient. So they've just become a stronger race at this point. I just like to point out one thing from Happy in this game, the supply depot. I know it's not a big thing, but small details matter at this level of play. The supply depot on the right-hand side, that's actually looking for the Overlord coming from the right-hand side. So if DIMAGA had spawned bottom right here, the Overlord would go to the supply depot and automatically Happy knows exactly where his opponent is.
That's very true here. Spawning cross positions, as we have now. DIMAGA just sending his overlords out in other locations. And it's actually very important that you keep your overlords in good positions, even from the very get-go. We saw in the round of 16, Thorzane pulling small tricks to try and snipe out people's overlords. DIMAGA lost one straight away to Thorzane. Or was it Stefano? But anyway, the point is that you have to be so careful. And again, it's those small details that you mentioned.
All right, so these two players, they've known each other for such a long time. They've been playing StarCraft since the get-go, since the beginning of StarCraft's release in 2010. Head-to-head wise, I mean, it's been quite close, I think.
Yeah, it really has. It really has. I mean, we have currently Happy actually taking around 11 wins against DIMAGA, but DIMAGA's taken 13 wins off of Happy. So technically it's very close, but if you go into Heart of the Swarm, the last 3 map encounters these guys have had with one another, Happy's taken all 3 maps. So he is looking really strong right now against DIMAGA. And as he said before, those all-ins could be important.
They're going to be very important here, but we do not see a gas opening from DIMAGA yet. I think he will want to play straight up in this first game because, like I mentioned earlier, I think we may see mech from Happy in this game, and if that's going to be the case here, then DIMAGA will want to play against that because he plays a style that's good against mech with Roach and Hydralisk, if that's how we see this come out. But if we look at Happy's build, 1 barracks command center into double gas here, but he's not mining gas from all or both the extractors, so he's able to initially mine 100 gas, 150, sorry, precisely for the factory and the reactor. Then he's taken out a gas. This is going to allow him to get a faster 3rd command center, and then he'll go back into gas, and then we'll continue to tech on from here.
What amazingly meticulous kind of economy management there from Happy. Just having 1 in each gas. It's very rare you would actually see something like that, but Happy's going for that. And meanwhile, DIMAGA, he's established himself and his vision on the map already very well. And he's moving his overlords in very interesting directions, actually.
Look at this here. Actually, Happy decided to throw down 2 extra barracks instead of a command center. At this point, I want to refer you back to TLO versus Happy on this very map.
Yeah.
Or was it TLO versus 4GG on this very map? TLO versus 4GG it was. And the double barracks coming down. What we're going to see from Happy is probably a stim timing with Hellions. It's kind of a big 2-base play. If you get stim and Hellions and a bunch of Marines, you're not getting upgrades and you're not getting a 3rd command center to further your economy and further yourself in the later stages of the game. If he can hit this without it being spotted, DIMAGA could be in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, it was TLO versus 4GG, you're right, and it's very scary. If he mixes in the level of Hellions that 4GG actually got against that, there is so much firepower behind what Happy could potentially do here. Meanwhile, DIMAGA's actually preparing himself a good wall. He's sealing himself off here. He knows that this could be some kind of eventuality, and he has to be careful about when he transitions drones over to this 3rd he's about to take.
And already, Happy's scouted the top left and the bottom right, knowing his opponent's cross position, the best possible position for Happy to be in, because no overlords are close to scouting this. And what I think that we should look at here is Happy's quote-unquote predictability here. He's just thrown that out the window and said, yes, you probably expect me to play mech here. Yes, you're going to go Roach Hydra. You're going to play a different game because you're the one trying to exploit me. Well, what happens if I flip that around? What are you going to do if I hit you with a timing you may not be able to defend?
Yeah, you're right. You're entirely right. Happy is playing very interestingly here. And with that now, DIMAGA's going to hold this natural for now, but still, these Hellions are going to continue to amass. There's going to be a lot of Marines knocking on his doorstep. And with the 1-1 on the way for DIMAGA, yes, he'll have a lot of firepower eventually, but that's not going to get rolling just yet.
Well, if we look at it right now, though, so if Happy tries this attack and it works, he wins. If it doesn't work, 1-1 upgrades will be done for Roaches and Hydras. 2-2 can begin, and you'll have 3 base economy set up really, really nice. Nice creep denial here. This will enable Happy to engage better and stronger because the units of DIMAGA will be slower off creep at this point. This is a beautiful move being set up here by Happy, who's continuing helling production. Stim is so close to finishing. He's going to move out very shortly. Remember, it's not necessarily all in. He doesn't have to kill his opponent, but if he does astronomical damage to the drone count and the queens, he's still going to be in good shape.
And I'm kind of worried for DIMAGA a little bit. There's a slither where the Marines between these two overlords at his natural could run through. It's a little bit dodgy here, and he could actually do that, but we'll see if DIMAGA actually spots
14 Roaches, though. He's not droning towards his third base. Right now, DIMAGA's sitting on 50 drones. That's just comfortable for 2 bases. DIMAGA's feeling a little bit uneasy at this point. If, for example, there were a third command center coming down, he could pressure it, but he sees it.
Yeah.
Actually, I think DIMAGA's just going to crush this. With so many Roaches coming out, 1-1 and speed on the way, he's going to continue Roach production, and DIMAGA will probably accept this attack and just go counter-attack.
You're right. If he has enough time to get a Gliria Constitution as well as the advantages he's going to have with that 1-1, it's going to be great here for DIMAGA.
Happy's walking into a trap, I feel, now.
Yeah, this is going to get a little bit dodgy for him. I mean, these Roaches are under assault here. Nice transfuse. We'll be able to save one of them. Look how many Roaches actually power out against those Hellions, pushing them away from the natural, but Happy's setting up for some kind of drop.
Yeah, Happy knows that if he just walks home, then DIMAGA's going to come across the map and try to kill him. So he's going to have to try and keep DIMAGA back home defending, and that has to be through drops.
Yeah, you're right. That's very, very clever here by Happy, trying to keep his opponent on the back foot, trying to keep him well defended back at home.
Yeah.
125 supply right now to 98. He's going to poke in here, but once again, DIMAGA just everywhere.
DIMAGA shut it down.
Yeah.
DIMAGA shut this down, and remember the advantages we talked about through DIMAGA having 1-1 done. He now has +2 carapace on the way and should be starting +2 attack. He has the Hydra Den down as well, and there's the +2 attack. So he will want to drone a little bit towards this third base, because if he builds units now, he'll have units out before 2-2 is ready, so it kind of doesn't help his economy. So at this point, he's got enough Roaches, 29 Roaches to defend, more than enough. Drone massively towards the third base, and then look for a big 2 timing.
Yeah, he's getting that Groove Spines out right now just to keep himself well defended, and then after that, he'll go for the Muscular Augments. A few more drones on the way here.
16 drones at once, and then another 9 here. He's going to shoot up to about 75.
That is a lot across those 3 bases. And again, you know, actually 2-2 is going to finish around the same time as 1-1 is. So always is DIMAGA going to be on a higher level of fighting here when it comes to actually these engagements. And again, the Roaches just constantly keep pushing Happy away. He really hasn't done much damage. He's killed 1 worker.
And that's the kind of end of it, because the Hydralists are on the way now. Unfortunately for Happy, he's identified what he's playing against, so he's trying to build up a tank count. Tanks are so good against Roach Hydra, but in this case, his economy's low and the upgrades are low. So I don't think he'll have the number count here because of investing in such an attack early on. Now we're going to see DIMAGA just pump out like 4 Overlords to go up to 200 supply, and then just build nothing but Hydralists. He's got so many Roaches already, and then he's going to look for an attack on the third base of his opponent. DIMAGA has shut Happy down here.
Yeah, you're right. This is going to be really scary for Happy. With the economy that DIMAGA has now settled himself into, Happy has to play so much catch-up. He's getting his armory as well, so he can try and get 2-2. The Hydralisks just push the drop away once again. This is the least amount of damage I've ever seen drops do for a very long time here. He's trying to poke in at the third, but no, go away. Great separation tactics here from DIMAGA.
If Happy's going to hold on to this game, because it is falling away from him at the moment, he needs to keep dropping and take his third base, defended by tanks, bunkers, you name it. So at this point, Happy is very much so down in supply. If DIMAGA moves out, he has to move in for a drop, because if he doesn't drop out, then he will lose this third base, no doubt in my mind.
A few Roaches poking around, seeing exactly what's probably going to go on. He probably knows that he's trying to establish himself that third base now, and the Muscular Augment is finishing up for these Hydralisks. He's moving across the map. It's all been spotted, though.
DIMAGA's left units back to defend against the drops and moving out at the same time. He's got so many units, he's able to do both.
Well, army supplies 124 right now to 79. He's poking at this third once again. Is Happy trying to do some damage where he can, as well as poking at the natural. But despite all of those units moving out, he's still trying to hold his own here. He has a lot of queens in production as well to try and deal with that, or at least to defend. And poking on forwards now, killing off a lot of Marines. There's not enough tanks to actually hold this back. And the Hydralisks are just having a field day. 177 supply to 80.
He smashed the defense down. He can break into the third base. DIMAGA maintains 170 supply to 86. He's not quite dealing with the drops at the moment because he's run out of units at home, but he's able to build more if that third base goes down here, Kalaris.
Yeah, those Hydralisks slowly killing it off. Will they be able to deny it? No, they're going to pull back for now as the siege tanks were kind of firing away at them. and he has to pick up once again. Oh, but the medevac goes down. Another nice pickup there from DIMAGA.
And DIMAGA gets into this other drop as well, and this is going to go down as well. There's no more aggressive drops out there for Happy. He's left back at home under 100 supply compared to 190. DIMAGA can take a 4th base now. He's satisfied of keeping his opponent away from his 3rd base. DIMAGA's plan has been successful.
And with the Hive on the way now, I mean, he can go up to 3-3 really rapidly.
Yep.
The army supplies 124 to 50. Happy is going to need a miracle defense to hold DIMAGA off here once he moves into position, and he's getting a 4th behind this.
This drop actually just went past DIMAGA's forces. It's going up to the north now, double drop, and he's going to look to probably drop in the main base and the 4th base or the 3rd. A combination of both, if not, put both the medevacs on the 4th. The main goal is to cancel this 4th base. He knows this is DIMAGA's opportunity to take it. Let's see how he splits this up. Maybe one there and another one in the main base. It looks like he's just going to focus on getting rid of it, more importantly.
Yeah, not too bad, but at the same time, DIMAGA trying to take another 4th base up to the top left-hand location. You could call it the 5th, as it were, but still, that's good play from DIMAGA, realizing that there were vulnerabilities in his play there and trying to account for that, and he's bringing his entire army back to deal with this, but still, off the back of this, Happy is still only on 2 bases. Really, really constricted right now.
Well, there's 2 drops at the north, you know, kind of waiting. Another one on the right-hand side here. Happy trying to play this from a behind position. We have Vipers on the way now that are going to pull the medivacs into the Hydralisks at this point. Let's see how DIMAGA's defense is going to be. He's moving down, poking with a main army as well. It looks like he's just going to keep Happy away from this 3rd. Happy, he's got a very small army there.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, again, the army supply is 133 to 90 at this point, and a lot of the army for Happy is strung across the map. So any defense that he would have at his natural has to be pristine to hold off DIMAGA if he's going to actually push in. And there's the draining power of those Vipers.
He can pull that medevac in a couple of seconds here. As soon as those Vipers are ready, if he sees it, does he see it? He does see it. So that medevac has to be seen. He's going to go for it, but it did move out of position. But considering the circumstances in this game, I think that Happy's playing phenomenally well.
Yeah, he is. He's just trying to hold himself into this, considering what has happened. DIMAGA took a strong early lead, and he's going to go for the push once again, but does lose a lot of those units. Those siege tanks, high in count, and will push that back, and does not get that medevac.
Well, Happy's almost got a force. He's up to 160 supply now to take the 3rd base. Because of so many tanks, But the problem is the Vipers, yes, they'll be good at dealing with these medivacs, but a blinding cloud on top of the tanks renders them useless.
Yeah.
Happy, when he defends his third base, which he'll have to do soon, must spread his tanks out.
And you're right, the need to move those siege tanks out of position once you've actually sieged them up and that blinding cloud goes down is really, really annoying for the Terran, especially when you've got roaches and Hydralisks just completely barreling down in your location. And Happy is doing a great job still.
DIMAGA's forgot about defending now. He's just going to go in for the attack.
Oh, good blinding clouds on a lot of the siege tanks, but there's still some in the back here. He actually pulls those forward straight towards those roaches, and Hydralisk kills off quite a lot of them. There's really not a huge amount of damage being done by these siege tanks. He has to pull off all of the SCVs to try and deal with this. He's going to push it back for now, but he took a lot of damage.
Yeah, and Happy held the line well there. The blinding cloud ran out, and then the tanks were able to get the damage done. DIMAGA is not being able to deal with these drops well enough at this point. Happy's playing out an absolutely incredible game. Despite being down to less than 100 supply versus a maxed out Zerg player, he's bought time. He's slowly, patiently taking his third base. The problem is, because he's been away from a third base, he doesn't have the best upgrades. He has no upgrades in his tanks, and only +3 down for his bio. Look at the upgrades for DIMAGA now. 3-3, and then Ultralisk. This is the smoothest transition from Roach Hydra without going over to Ling upgrades. Because the Ultralisk now, with the plating they're going to have, will be so good at tanking damage, especially against Marines. There's no Marauders at all at this point. So the Ultralisk will go in, tank the damage. The Hydralisk, though, those are going to be the bad boys in this fight.
Yeah, they really are. And it's a good point that you brought up earlier about how well Happy is denying these bases to the point where he has bought himself time. And right now, DIMAGA's moving across the map, but he's going to catch actually a few of those siege tanks there, a little bit unsieged, catches at least 2 or 3 of them. Nice fungal as well, locks a bit of that bio down. But the Ultralisks are kind of caught in the back. They're not really doing the tanking that they need to. Now they move to the front here. Are the Marines and siege tanks going to be able to take them out quickly enough? There's not enough DPS behind these Ultralisks in turn. I think Happy just might barely be able to clean this up, but no, it's not going to happen. The Ultralisks power on forwards.
Yeah, 2 Ultralisks. They're going to be a pain in the bum for these Marines to deal with, that's for sure. But great micro again by Happy. And DIMAGA needs to reinforce again. Look at how many units he's making. Doesn't want to waste these 2 Ultralisks. Ideally, maybe a fungal can keep the Marines back. I'm not sure if the Infestor has enough energy. Oh, it doesn't quite now. It will do in a couple of seconds, but DIMAGA's new wave of units at 185 supply, maybe he hasn't even got circling speed yet. Oops, that's going to be a bit of an annoyance for sure, but Well, DIMAGA's back to 190 versus 124.
Yeah, those links just kind of going to block things for now. If that speed comes out, it's going to be very useful. He's getting adrenal glands before speed. It's very rare that you end up seeing that, but DIMAGA now still holding himself quite tightly out his natural, and that adrenal glands is indeed on the way. 3-3 is going to finish up pretty soon, and Marauder production has begun. If Happy can somehow, some way keep holding on slowly, he might be able to bring himself back in.
If Happy can get up to 200 supply, that's where he's going to be in the best shape. DIMAGA, because he's been kept away from a 4th base Kalaris, look how much gas he has, well, or how much gas he doesn't have at this point. And that's why they've been forced to go back over to Zergling production. But he actually needs to invest that 100 gas to get Zergling speed here. It's a little bit sloppy that he's not doing it at this point, but this is a high-pressure situation for both players, a very intense game.
And with the more Hydralisks on the way now, once again, they are going to be the big damage dealers. There's still not like +2 melee weapons on the way here for DIMAGA, so the Ultralisk's not going to do as much as they would ideally like to. And he's also setting up quite a nice defense here at the 4th base. He needs this economy. If he doesn't get it, Happy is constantly still doing so well with these drops.
Well, there's only 3 roaches up there, and these 3 Marines and even a Marauder thrown in there could actually pick off this base. This is a big move for Happy, and DIMAGA's not been dealing with these drops well enough, and he could definitely get this base.
Yeah, he really could. The Roaches are going to try and deal with it, but no, he's just going to step up and focus down the hatchery. It goes down so quickly before any of that bio even dies off.
DIMAGA says, screw you, big guy. I'm coming in for a big assault.
Trying to go from both sides here. He's choked up slightly on the right-hand side. One of the Ultralists does go down. That was actually trying to tank what it could do. Few blinding clouds and some of the siege tanks. Will it be able to deny enough of this damage? I think it may be able to, as the Zerglings and Hydralisks continue to flood on in. The Hydralisks to the side aren't really being tanked for, but the Ultras at the back with the Roaches trying to kill off those remaining siege tanks. DIMAGA takes the victory. He should be able to push away this 3rd base.
He's going to push away this 3rd base, and this could be the game-winning move here, Kalaris. With all the reinforcements coming, 14 Hydras and more Ultras, I suppose they'll defend this drop first, but when they regain forces, the SCVs are going down. DIMAGA maintains a high supply lead. There is an expansion to the 9 o'clock base here, but it's already been spotted by a Roach, which picked off that cheeky SCV. But so far for DIMAGA, it's been so close for him to win this game, but so far at the same time.
One Ultralisk actually moves on forward there, trying to do some damage, but DIMAGA doesn't really need to take this engagement at this point. He needs to retain his forces. He's got 109 supply against 57 in terms of the army. If he consolidates all of that, then Happy is going to get run over.
Yeah, here we go. DIMAGA's got his force together one more time, one more fight for the Ukrainian, and he may be able to take up map number 1.
And these siege tanks aren't even siege, so they're going to go down so quickly there. He knows to focus fire those down. That's the big damage if they're able to siege up. Pushing him back to his natural as well. Denying this 3rd means Happy will have absolutely nothing left in terms of economy. The SCV's trying to repair, but no money. Bye-bye command center. Bye-bye SCVs.
And DIMAGA up to 158 supply compared to 36 and dropping. It looks like he's finally got his hands around Happy.
GG.
Wow.
What a way to open up this series, Apollo.
DIMAGA coming into this as the underdog. No doubt in my mind, Happy's the favorite to take the series, but DIMAGA, takes map number 1.
That was really, really impressive. Considering the map, considering the opening builds, and the way in which DIMAGA was able to prepare himself, we speculated that there might be all-ins, but the first map is to feel out your opponent, see exactly what they're going to do. Maybe we'll see it later on from DIMAGA, but what a strong game number 1.
Wow, an incredibly strong game number 1 here by DIMAGA, and he opens up this best-of-5 series. He takes the first kill over Happy, and he's got 2 more games to go. I think the next map is Akalon Waste, which is indeed Happy's map choice.
Yeah.
So Happy going over to what he wants to play on now. But if we look at that first map as a whole, DIMAGA, I'm quite sure, in a post-game interview, if you ask, did you pick that map because you expected him to play mech? I think he'd say yes a lot of the times here. But it was Happy the one that was thinking a level above that, saying, I know you picked that map because of this, and I'm going to play different. But his strategy, his plan didn't work, and it set him behind for the majority of the game. But we must remember, Happy played that game behind from 100 supply, yet made it so close. What can he do in an equal level game?
Yeah, you're right. That is going to be scary here if Happy's able to gain the momentum necessary on an even footing into the mid and late game. So if Happy's able to do that, we could still see that comeback quite easily here from Happy. He is looking really good despite being put back so far there.
Well, map number 2 will be starting very shortly here between these 2 players. What a great start to the day for sure. The first quarterfinal, as you can see on screen, a best of 5 between every one of those players.
just starting here. Just getting warmed up, Claris.
Yeah, some pretty good series on the way. All best of fives, as you rightly pointed out. We have TLO versus MVP. Later on, after that, we have Lucifron versus 4GG. And actually, you stole the words out of my mouth previously, Apollo. I am also looking forward to that a lot. That's going to be pretty cool.
All right, so let me just join this game. Sorry. Thanks to you guys for coming out here. Once again, you've been a fantastic crowd already, and I hope you're going to be excited for the rest of the day, because we've got a lot of StarCraft action.
A lot.
So don't get sleepy. I know that guy never gets sleepy.
That guy.
See?
Yep.
He's never sleepy. And he's a big fan of DIMAGA, so I'm sure he's quite happy at the moment too. But map 2 is about to begin here, Claris.
It is Akelon Wastes as we get loaded up and good to go between DIMAGA and Happy. Empire looking to bring things back, whilst Mr. DIMAGA looking to move on to that 2-0 and spawning down to the bottom right, as are Red Terran once again. Ladies and gents, give it up for Happy.
It's not looking very happy, Claris.
So intense when you watch him play, he really is. And spawning up to the top left, as are Blue Zerg. Give it up for DIMAGA.
He was not looking content with that game number 1 there. He got game on face there.
He really does.
Happy wants to win this, because the next round could be a difficult one. If one of these players would face off against TLO versus MVP.
Yep.
And every stage further, or the most important thing, I was going to actually bring up money and WCS points. The winner of this grabs a slot to travel to Korea for the Season 1 finals.
That's big.
That is a big, big deal.
That is really big here. Neither player wants to go away. Even if they don't seal it here, though, they still have another opportunity tomorrow. We have that 5th place bracket that's going to be taking place tomorrow to determine who is that 5th spot from Europe. So there is another chance, but nobody wants to have to battle through another 2 best of 5s to actually get that. They want it right here, right now. And DIMAGA, in game number 1, certainly made a very good case for himself.
Reaper opening, double Reaper opening most likely here. Happy falling back onto his standard build. This is his go-to build. A lot of StarCraft 2 players, I'm sure you have a set of go-to builds yourself when you play different races. This is the build I'm going to use when I play ladder today, basically. And this is Happy's go-to build in Terran vs. Zerg. Double Reapers over to 3 command centers usually, especially on a map like this, because despite it being Happy's map, it is easier to get Overlords into position on this map, to poke in, to scout, to see if there's anything cheeky like those extra barracks we saw previously.
Yeah, you're right. And just in general, it's a pretty good map for Reaper as well. There's so much room to move around from the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, bouncing up and down these cliffs here to actually make that work out. And gas has actually been taken here.
Gas has been taken by DIMAGA. If we look at patterns from game 1 to game 2, that was not there in game number 1. Why was it not there? Because DIMAGA, big map, if he was trying to do anything aggressive like he stated he would like to do, Whirlwind, maybe not the best map to do on, and maybe a little bit too big. But on this map, what we're going to see DIMAGA with that gas, he'll get speed for his Zerglings, and then he'll be able to hide what he's going to do. Happy will have no idea if he gets back into gas, if he doesn't. Could be seeing some fireworks.
Could be. And I mean, just with the way that players have deviated things up from game number 1 to game number 2, you can tell right now that going into WCS Europe, these are complete players. They're able to mix things up. They're able to deviate. They're able to take slight little risks here and there to try and catch off their opponent where they can. So it's really, really awesome to see both players really mixing it up.
The average Reaper killed, here's my little stat. The average Reaper killed by Happy. I mean, the average drone killed by the Reaper is like 0.6.
Oh.
Maybe 0.7. I looked at a lot of Happy games, man.
Apparently.
It's very rare to get a drone kill, basically, here at this point, because the Queen should be able to survive. You've got the Extractor. Getting into the Extractor, you can build a Spy and a Spore. So if we do see a drone go down, that's pretty big.
Yeah, it's really, really difficult to get those proper kills unless your opponent is just not controlling properly at all. DIMAGA set its defenses up really, really nicely here. Speed's on the way and Happy. Hey, he's going back to the true, tried and tested 3 good old command center.
Yeah, I was going to see if... I was going to, ask, do you reckon he would go for that? Now we see a Spore Crawler going down, I think, to prevent that drone from going and dying. But, okay, so at this point, Happy should know that speed should finish around the 6-minute mark. Maybe a little bit further, maybe a little bit less. But at this point, he's going into check. Oh, got a drone kill.
Oh, he got one.
That's actually pretty good for Happy there.
Yeah.
But most importantly, he's kept the Reapers alive. The thing is, when speed is near completion, it's DIMAGA's opportunity to go back into gas. And if he goes back into gas at a fast rate, and maybe throws down a second gas, we're absolutely going to see a Roach Baneling bust.
Yeah, and it could be hitting Happy hard. There was times where he's looked a little bit sketchy against some all-ins, and another drone does go down there. So Happy doing pretty well with this. 2 drone kills.
He's got a second gas, and he hasn't quite got back into the main... okay, he's into the main extractor with all 3. I think we're going to see a Roach Baneling bust here, Cloris. I think DIMAGA's going to take this opportunity to beat down a 3 command center build. I think he's going to look for a 2-0.
Well, you're right. I mean, he always said that, Happy plays very, very greedy. He knows this. He knows there's a potential for that. And right now, behind this, he doesn't really have that much infrastructure, so he can't build a whole lot. The Roach Warrior now goes down for DIMAGA as well. This poke at the front with these Reapers and the Hellions may give him some intel eventually, but he's not going to get up that ramp.
That spine may be a bit confusing here, but what we're going to see now, most likely, at the drone count currently is at 39. Maybe a little more drones, but unit production will start to begin. Lings over to Roaches.
Yeah.
The question is Happy going to be able to identify what's going on? He's got to be very careful, check out the unit production, maybe go over to Widow Mines. He's got to set up a defense. He's got no bunker at this point, nothing.
And the Roach Warriors are in a very interesting position here from DIMAGA. If he wanted to, if Happy wanted to, if he jumped into the back of that mineral line with a Reaper and tried to skirt around there, he could see the Roach Warren, but he's not right now. He's actually pushing him all the way back into that natural. That spine's going to hold him at bay for now, though, and he will have to move back.
And he's got 2 factories coming in. 2 Widow Mines are being produced for defense at this point, and he'll probably keep that up. Hellions are up to a count of 8, so they're going to be nice to do damage across the Lings and Banelings, but there's the Baneling nest. It is 100% confirmed now. Good few hits on the Zerglings. He's actually killed quite a few Zerglings already. The question is now, 3 Overlords are in the making. Nothing but units from here on out. No more drones, no, just units, 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 units.
Pretty high economy, aggression here, 39 workers. Thus far, the Roaches start to move out. Happy, though, now he realizes exactly what is barreling down upon him to a certain degree. He knows there's Roaches on the way. He's going to try and buy time with a few of the units in the middle of the map here, whilst an extra bunker. Is he going to plant down more bunkers?
Okay,
yes,
so if he can get to tanks, the game's over. If he can get to tanks, the game's over. It's that simple.
But he's got double armory on the way. That's such a huge investment.
He can't upgrade anything.
No.
Oh, he's got SCV stock. I don't even know how that happens, but that is very, very bad. His income is dropping down. DIMAGA's getting ready to move. Here it comes. We got 1 tank on the way. That tank is 2 tanks on the way. So crucial.
They need to come out.
2 Widow Mines in position. 2 more down as well. An incredibly tense position. Happy needs to hold this.
DIMAGA has to send a few Lings forwards to try and soak up those Widow Mines.
Yes,
if he doesn't,
Roach.
or the Roaches as well. Anything to soak that up first is a fantastic, fantastic utilization of them. He pokes on forwards. The Widow Mines, they haven't detonated yet. He catches a few of the Banelings as well, but they do bust on through. How many units is he actually going to lose here? There's not that many more Roaches here for DIMAGA, though, to keep going. The Hellions are doing a lot here, considering that they're not the full counter, and the Siege tank is out. Happy is probably going to hold this, but he lost a lot of workers.
3 Banelings coming too late. 3 Banelings too late. The SCVs run away, and this is stopped. Happy will hold on. All he needs to do is just re-wall off, siege up his tanks, and he's in a great position. Successfully defended by Happy, and incredibly close. Well, I wouldn't say close. It was incredibly tense, but not as close as we would have thought.
No.
I think that Happy played that out really well, got the Widow Mines out at a good time, the tanks out as well. More importantly, though, was dealing damage with the Hellions from the get-go. Let's look at DIMAGA. No upgrades, likewise, no upgrades for Happy, but a very, very late 3rd base in this case.
Yeah, and that's really going to hurt him going into the big game, because if you look at game 1, if you looked at the timing of DIMAGA's economy in comparison to how Happy was able to try and exploit that with his mobility, although that being said, he is going for mech this time, then Happy looked phenomenal, even playing from behind. But now, DIMAGA's going to be playing from behind, and Happy's going to try his best to kind of just shut that down in game 2, where he's going to look great.
All right, so these Zerglings are trying to catch these Hellions off. They'll get the majority of them here, or should do at least. Well done there by DIMAGA. But we're seeing mech with 1-1 upgrades against Zergling Mutalisk, most likely at this point. The ideal goal for DIMAGA is to do as much damage with... Oh, he's actually getting Roach speed too, so he may continue Roach production, but... actually, now I think he's going Roach production. I'm interested to see if you go Infestors. Usually when you go Roaches and Zerglings together, it's really nice to be able to clamp down the units with Infestors, with Fungal Growth, and then swarm in with Zerglings and Roaches. So I feel that he might not actually go Mutalisk at this point. A Thor and Engineering Bay has been made just in case. That's going to happen here. But I'll be interested to see what DIMAGA does from this position. But so far, I'd say that, the lead is a little bit in favor of Happy at this point.
I mean, especially with the type of composition that we're seeing in terms of so many Hellbats that are already out. 8 Hellbats do so much against the Lings. They even do a lot against Roaches if you're able to get a good position on them. But you're right. If DIMAGA is able to take an engagement in the middle of the map, set himself up a really nice concave from that point on, he should be able to deny his opponent for now. But still, the upgrades are going to favor Happy for just a little bit.
Happy is going to play a super passive game from this point out. Set up turrets for defense, and take off fourth base quite fast. I mean, he's already got a command center ready to go, and there it is, like really, really fast fourth base. But on this map, with the Widowmine placement and tanks, they cover a large range of area, because with the rocks on your third base, you are easily able to defend that position because you have tanks behind the rocks. So it's not a big point to think about defending. The biggest point is outside your natural, and the allowance, the pathway to the fourth base here, which enables him to take quite a considerably fast fourth base and gases, which means more units, because he's able to add on earlier production with the increasing count of the factory now.
It's funny that Happy sent out 5 Hellbats in anticipation for his opponent taking the 4th down there, but in the end did not find that, so he has to try and make them useful elsewhere. But so many Roaches just pick them off for free, and that's a nice trade there by DIMAGA.
So we just saw a scan from Happy inside the main base of DIMAGA. This scan was to say, do I move out at all or do I not? When you see the layer, you know your opposition has nothing but mid-tier units. Mid-tier units become more and more useless as the game goes on, because obviously your tanks get stronger the more there are and the upgrades come in. So he will never move out at this point. And whoa, what's that we see by Happy?
3 starports on the way. So, I mean, is this for Ravens? What is he going to be doing?
Yeah, Ravens a lot. So, at this point, though, before we talk about starports, DIMAGA has Overlord speed. He's going to send his Overlords in over the mines to tank damage, and then he's going to come crashing in with Roach and Lynx at this point. While Roach and Balings is going to be here.
He's going to have to separate himself very, very nicely to deal with this. Even missile turrets going down here. That's not going to deny the Widowmines. Whoa, is he going to pull those Widowmines back? He may end up... No, he'll pull just one back there. But one of the Widowmines does end up connecting regardless. He knows that they're there. The
Hellbats need to get at the front here. They're going to tank a lot of damage at this point, allowing the tanks to do more and more. Already Roach is going down.
And DIMAGA's actually just going to swarm in anyway. He doesn't have centrifugal hooks on these Banelings, so they're going to take a little bit longer to actually get into position. But the Roaches actually flood on in once again. How far does this siege tank line go back? The answer is not a whole lot more. There's only a few more siege tanks laying waste to this position. Banelings crash into some Thors trying to shut those down, but you can't break them when they're being repaired. And DIMAGA gets forced back once again, but he's doing some damage over at the 4th as well, trying to keep Happy on his toes in terms of that economy. More SCVs die off, and DIMAGA, he's actually doing well considering where he is.
Yeah, and DIMAGA hasn't really got the Infestation Pit or Spire in this game, so he's continued to build units, and now he's researching Ventral Sacs. DIMAGA's going to go for another attack, but with 3 Vikings out, there is no Spire, there is no Infestation Pit, there is no Hydralisk Den, there's no anti-air, there's only Queens. And at this point, the creep isn't extended further enough for them to be useful.
Whoa, but the Roaches and Zerglings trying to flood in once again. The wall finishes up just in time to try and prevent that. That's going to buy him quite a lot of time for those siege tanks to rain some havoc down from the back. And there was so many siege tanks there. That was a great trade from Happy.
And now 2-2 is just the second completed for Happy. This just got a lot easier to deal with.
Yeah.
And the problem is, with Hellbats in the game now, this kind of drop play isn't as strong as it used to be. Because it used to be able to drop down onto the mech army, and then you're able to deal a lot of damage. But if you drop, you're just going to get roasted by Hellbats, which do a massive amount of area of effect damage. And these Vikings...
Yeah, they're doing so much damage here. And now he's just getting the range on the way. He's getting that Hydralisk Den down as well. He needs those Hydras out. Otherwise, these Vikings just reign absolutely supreme here on Akalon Waste.
Yeah.
3-3 starts now for Happy as well. So slowly but surely, he is amassing what is just an impenetrable army.
And Happy had the option to build anything from the starport at this point. But seeing Roachlings, why not build Banshees against it?
Yeah.
I mean, he could even invest in Cloak, too, because with the Vikings out, he'll be able to pick off Overseers and just generally build a strong army to deal with this. The most important thing to note here is that Happy has deflected multiple waves of aggression, which have prevented DIMAGA from actually teching up because he keeps on rebuilding an army. With 3-3 upgrades coming in for Happy, especially nearing 200 supply, he's starting to cruise to a lead in this game.
Yeah, he really is. This army's looking phenomenal, but the Roaches and Zerglings going to try and flood in once again here. Don't know if they're going to get too much done, though. That firepower from this army is phenomenal, along with the Banshees as well, just ruling the skies. There's not really a whole lot DIMAGA can do. He gets pushed back. Happy with another very convincing win.
Yeah, and Happy's actually confident to not sit back and play passive. He's just going to move across the map now. He says, well, I keep on killing you. You've got to be teching some now, to something at this point, because it's not working for you. So if you're teching, then you're not building a lot of units and you're down in supply. So this movement out is potentially game-ending.
Yeah, and even with this army that Happy has now, if he somehow shuts this down, all but Hydralisks fly absolutely everywhere, then he's got Corvid Reactor on the way, 4 even more starports going down, for Ravens to come out. How do you deal with that whilst having to deal with all of this? DIMAGA on the ropes here. Zerglings and Roaches trying to find a good position to push on in, but Happy playing a phenomenal game too.
Yep, and he's got position on his opponent's 4th base now. All the drones are gonna get melted. And Happy keeps up a massive lead in this game. DIMAGA comes crashing in with a loose set of units, and that's not good enough here.
GG. Game number 2 tied up by Happy. And this is exactly what we were talking about before. The fact that if Happy goes into a mid and late game scenario, level pegging with you, then you're going to have such a hard time against Happy.
Yeah, I mean, so the moral of that story was lots of aggression, lots of all-ins. Remember the term all-in?
Yeah.
DIMAGA, when you do something like this, you sacrifice so much economy. Like in game 1, we saw Happy sacrifice economy and upgrades to do an attack. It didn't work. This time it was DIMAGA's turn to sacrifice economy and upgrades. Again, it didn't work. He didn't break down his opponent, and from there on out, Happy just automatically takes a lead.
And with 1-1 here now, we'll have to see if Happy can extend that lead or if DIMAGA can come back after game number 3. That was really, really tough for him to deal with, and I believe we are going on to Newkirk Precinct here, this map. And
so this is DIMAGA's choice.
Yeah, but Happy looked so good on this map prior, in round of 16, etc.
Yeah, Happy looked great on this map, but I also like this map for Roach Hydra play too. Because whatever 3rd base you're going to end up taking as Happy is either going to be in the triangular position, which you can come crashing in from multiple angles as DIMAGA with Roach and Hydralisk, or it's a further away taken 3rd base. But we'll see how this is going to play out, but a great game from Happy to level this series up for sure.
It really is now. As we load up into game number 3, who is going to take that little bit of a lead here in this best of 5? As we now load up onto Newkirk Precinct here between Happy and DIMAGA. Russia versus the Ukraine. These guys, this is WCS Europe Season 1 finals in the quarterfinal as we have spawning down to the bottom right, as are Red Terran. Evening things up. Give it up for Happy.
Feeling the heat. Ooh. Feeling the heat.
It's getting warm in here, man.
It is getting warm in here.
And spawn down to the bottom left, as are Blue Zerg. Give it up for DIMAGA.
No more messing about now, Kolaris. No more silly faces from DIMAGA now.
Serious time.
Serious stuff. It's currently 1-1 in a best of 5. First player to win 3 games will move on to the semi-finals, which will be played out tomorrow, guaranteeing themselves a slot to play in the Season 1 finals in Korea. A lot on the line.
Making sure he can put down that barracks as quickly as possible.
Yes. It
has to go to that point.
This is where the SCV has a bit of a disco spin.
And there we go. There's the barracks now on the way here for Happy, getting him good to go. I mean, on this map, it is a little bit harder to take that 3rd command center to actually position it earlier. So I think we'll still see maybe a 3 command center play from him, though, but just keeping on the high ground a little bit longer than you would do on other maps.
The thing is that the 3 command center play is the best possible economy build you can get.
Yeah.
But also balanced enough where you don't die to any aggression.
Yeah.
We've seen Happy kind of dance on the line with this strategy, and I'll refer to the last round when he played against Vortex. He dropped down to 16 SCVs. Granted, there were Vortex mistakes in that game, but still was able to play on at an advantageous position through using the advantages you get from an early 3rd command center, faster upgrades, medivacs out nice and early, and so on. And is able, of course, to recover that lost economy, most importantly, with the use of the mules.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, the resilience of Happy is astounding in terms of going up against Zergs here. And, well, DIMAGA, he still has such a tall order on his hands because of that eventuality here, that Happy is so hard to just kill. How do you kill this guy? Even when you're 100 supply up on him, he still makes it really hard for you.
An extractor has been taken again by DIMAGA. We don't know if he's going to reveal... Well, he will reveal the gas, of course. It's going to get scouted by the Reaper. But we don't know if he's going to play mind games or not with this.
Yeah.
Is he going to go into gas and try another attack?
Is he just going to stay out and take a faster third base and concentrate on his economy? These are decisions right now that probably DIMAGA's already made. It's, you know, we're looking at it like, you know, what is he going to do? What is he going to pick? But he's got a plan in his mind, and he's probably already known exactly what he's going to do.
And to play devil's advocate here, just kind of saying, in a hypothetical world, if DIMAGA does go for aggression again, busting that natural is as difficult as it is on Akelon Waste. The architecture of that ramp is very, very similar, very, very spread, and you know, it would be hard for DIMAGA if Happy's able to read that.
That's right. So, I mean, if he tries it and then he doesn't succeed, he's down 1 win to 2 losses playing on match point. Of course, Happy's playing on match point there, so it is difficult.
Queen pops out, going to try and push this away. Doesn't get any drones just yet. Gets maybe 1 or 2 Zergling kills, not too bad. But has to scoot on out. He's not actually following the... Did he follow it with the second Reaper?
Yes,
he did.
Yes.
Okay.
Second Reaper over to a reactor, barracks, factory, and then probably third command center any second now. The standard opening from Happy uses game in, game out. And these Reapers, their duty is to just keep around, be annoying, most importantly. Any drone kill is a massive bonus here.
Ooh. And he does get one.
That's a bonus. Like I told you before, the stats like 0.6, 0.7 across all of Happy's games. And the last game, he got 2. This game, he's already gotten 1. So he's succeeding his average drone kill at the moment. And that really does slow DIMAGA down. We saw it slow him down previously. And then if he keeps the Reapers alive, he can use them with the Hellions to put on more pressure as well. That's another drone kill. Oh, no, he doesn't. Sorry. Nope. My bad.
Spore Crawler goes down, saving that drone. The DPS of the Reapers isn't exactly that big anymore, so...
Second gas and back into his main extractor with 3, I think, if we have a quick look. All right, so layer.
Oh.
Okay, with a layer coming down here, we may see a different variation of a roach bailing attack. It's not 100% certain. It can easily take the other gases and go up to Mutalis or some crazy Swarmos player, anything, you know, like Teal'c does. But what I think this may be is a roach bailing speed combination. A bit later of an attack, but a much more powerful one.
And he's getting that third gas as well down here. With that spine, the natural, trying to hold this off. Queen trying to poke away, but good control here by Happy, saving all of those units whilst still DPSing that Queen. So still, DIMAGA just kind of rocketing up in terms of his tech a little bit.
Yeah, and there's the Roach Warren coming down. He's taking all 4 gases. He's going to go up to quite a high drone count. You actually do go to a high drone count with this. He doesn't... Oh, actually loses a Queen at that point.
Ouch.
Oh, dear me. And this is a difficulty when you don't have a Spine Crawler finish. Zerglings, a lot of Zerglings, or Roaches out already. And losing that Queen, lack of creep spread now, because he's going to have to...
Ouch, another Queen.
Now he's missing creep spread and lava injects at this point. That's really nice play from Happy here.
The interesting thing is Happy was on only 29 workers just then. He's gone up to 30 just now, but that was a little bit more lackluster than I was seeing from him. His SCV. And this is...
Okay, so this build is a build that Symbol used in the GSL. What we're going to see is a lot of Roaches. Probably they'll have a Roach speed attack at the front door, but then and he can also put the Nidus in the main base. He can get Ventral Sacs, drop it too. There's different variations of how this is going to work out. Because, I mean, you can, like I said, run up the front door, put the Nidus at the back, you can get Ventral Sacs and do it, but he's not getting Ventral Sacs, which means he won't be able to drop in the main base. So it seems like it'll be a front door attack with a Nidus at the back.
I'm kicking myself now, because whenever I see that early layer, I'm always thinking, could it be a Nidus? And never say anything. But no, the Ling's trying to push this away here at the natural, and there's that Nidus on the way.
SCV's got to go. Happy. Okay, he's going to be able to stop this there. He pulls his SCVs just in time. Whoop, come on, get over there, guys.
But now, because he knows that's there, and he's actually bringing Widow Mines as well, this puts DIMAGA back pretty heavily.
He gets a... No, I'm waiting for the Nidus one to disappear. Oh, Happy walks into that one. Unfortunately for DIMAGA, this is not working. He's got to try something else. He's got to send these Roaches across. Remember, we talked about it so much today. The sacrifice of upgrades and economy. Again, DIMAGA's done that to build a strong army. He's attempting it, but the Hellions are back. This is a nightmare start, and every time he tries this, he's losing resources.
Yeah, he really is. It's so much of an investment, and it's not working out for him. But even all the Nidus Worms trying to go down, it's still an investment of speed going down so quickly. The fact that he hasn't been droning during all of this. The Roaches have not been doing the damage that they want to, whilst Happy knows there's going to be a push coming.
And there's 2 Widow Mines there to defend initially, and now there's 2 tanks. We talked about the importance of tanks as well. And with these sieged up, I don't know the Roach count, actually. It's 20. Not that high, because SCVs can repair the wall at this point as well. There's Hellbats coming into the mix too. A lot of Hellions there.
Wow.
I think DIMAGA's he's not going to be able to do this. I don't
Yeah,
I think so.
This is going to be so hard. I mean, Happy did have a second bunker down during the initial attack on Akelon Wastes, but with those 2 siege tanks, they're going to help out so much. He's even repairing his Hellions because he knows he needs absolutely every little shred of health he can possibly have to actually deal with this. He's going to start shelling away here. Will he be able to even break down that bunker? It's going low, but it doesn't go low enough. He pushes him back with the siege tanks, and the Roaches have done nothing.
Yeah, GG. DIMAGA knows what kind of position he's in. If you can't deal the attack and you can't kill him, you're not going to win the game. And Happy takes a 2-1 lead here. And oh boy, Happy now match point. 1 win away from guaranteeing himself a slot to go to Korea, a slot in the top 4. The WCS points start reeking in. Yeah. And of course, the money on top. Whew. A great position to be in for Happy now.
There's so much on the line for every single one of these players. It's only the quarterfinal and there's so much on the line. Never mind the semis or the final here. As DIMAGA, he is 1 loss away from being knocked down to that 5th place decider series. And you don't want that. You do not want that. You want to take the victory. You want to keep your chances alive to take that first spot here in WCS Europe.
I really like how unpredictable Happy's actually being today. It's very surprising because, you know, the double Reaper opening is normal. He always does that. But when he's taken a 3rd command center, he's always changing things up. Especially today, he's playing mech every game, pretty much. Apart from game 1, which he lost. But the games he's won, he's played mech. And the reason for that is it's easy to fend against all these Roach plays, especially the all-ins. May not be so much the Roach Hydra initial plays, if you're playing a macro game yourself as a Zerg player, but all these aggressive plays are getting 100% shut down by Happy's build and setup every single time.
And the thing is that we ourselves speculated that this would be DIMAGA's opportunity. If he were able to make the early aggression work against Happy, then he would be flying. But if we're able to predict that, Happy is certainly able to predict that. The person who is studying one player for a week long. So he's prepared himself so well.
That's right. Well, guys, we're going to take a very quick commercial here while both players just take a second before we get into match point. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the World Championship Series Europe Season 1 final. It's currently 2-1 between Empire Happy and DIMAGA. Game number 4, Apollo, what are you feeling?
I'm feeling a sense of difficulty coming from... a sense of relaxation. Sorry, I'll change my words around from DIMAGA here. But this is difficult for him. We talked about how hard it is, and he can hear his fans behind him, and he's going to have to bring it in this next game. Because currently, in these last 2 games, he has been outplayed. He's trying to do something a little bit too cheeky, a little bit too aggressive. Let's see what he does now.
I've never seen a more relaxed player.
You'd think the complete opposite, wouldn't you, at this stage? 1 map away.
Wow. All right, okay. So, spawning up to the top right as our Red Terran, 1 game away from that semi-finals. Ladies and gents, give it up for Happy.
Playing the best tournament of his life so far.
Yeah, you unequivocally, that's so true. And spawning down to the bottom left-hand corner here as our blue Zerg. Ladies and gents, give it up for DIMAGA.
All right.
I think we should point out that those guys are really loud.
They are really, really loud here, guys. All right, so currently 2 wins to Happy in a best-of-5 first play to 3 wins. I like the adaptations that we've seen from Happy compared to the round of 16 versus Vortex, for example.
Yes.
He's building a lot of tanks. He's playing super defensive. And more importantly, he's keeping tabs on his opponent at all times. There's never been a time so far in the series that the Reapers and Hellions haven't been on top of things. They're always on top of everything at this point. And he's playing some of the most solid Terran versus aggressive Zerg play we've seen.
Yeah, it's true. And I mean, there was that point in going into the Heart of the Swarm where Terran said, well, this Widow Mine, it's a pretty good defensive unit. I'm going to use a lot of Widow Mines. Even in the Assault, they were going to use them.
Yeah.
But then Zerg started saying, well, it's time for a lot of Roach aggression because those Widow Mines, they just don't deal with it that well. And for a long time, Terrans were dying to that. But now, with the rediscovery, as I would say, of Siege Tanks, it's like, oh, actually, this works really, really well against this.
Yeah, that's a really good point to bring up because if we remember back to Thorzane playing against DIMAGA in the previous round as well, is that one of the biggest changes that Thorzane made across the entire of the series was the addition of tanks, just because of the way DIMAGA plays.
Yeah.
DIMAGA plays one style, which is Roach Hydralisk, and then add in the combination of being aggressive. Tanks just deal with everything. They just deal with DIMAGA. So if you're a Terran player and you're playing against DIMAGA, you probably want to be building tanks. But now it's time for DIMAGA to, I have to say, change things up. But does he go back to Ling, Baneling, Mutilus play? We saw him use it against MVP in the round of 32.
Yep.
What's next for DIMAGA? What is he going to do?
We also saw a lot of Ling Ultra as well, but there was that period of time between the round of 32 and the round of 16 where he kind of just completely deviated away from it and just said, well, nope, no more of that. SCV trying to catch an Overlord, but I don't really think that's going to work out for him too well.
We want happy average drone kills by Reaper Tab and planted by the... Yes, we should. There's still different types of all-ins. There's actually more than just the couple.
Yeah.
We've seen Nidus play. We've seen Roach Baneling play. You can have Roach Speed and Baneling Speed play. You can have only Zergling and Baneling play. There's a lot of different all-ins to choose from here, DIMAGA, and he knows them all. DIMAGA for a long time as a player always references to the GSL when he plays. He watches it.
Yeah.
For example, Symbol is that guy that he's been watching, as we can see.
And the thing is that you bring up like the Zergling Baneling one, for example, if we just kind of hypothesize what actually deals with that. Happy with the addition early on of Widow Mines, for example, and then if he sees what's coming, then he adds on more Widow Mines. It really does well against that, unless you're a Zerg like Life and you just don't really care about Widow Mines, and you just do what the hell you want.
Well, there comes the factory barracks and the third command center, more importantly, for Happy, opening up the same again. Playing with a very economy-focused build, and we heard DIMAGA talk about how he knows that Happy loves to play a greedy style, a 3 command center style here.
Yeah, poking away. Did he get that drone? I think he did.
He did.
1 drone. So a Happy ratio is going up, Mr. Apollo.
It's going up, mate. It's probably at like 0.9, 1.1 now.
He's doing all right for himself.
But what's DIMAGA going to do? So at this point, Zergling Speed is near completion, and Happy knows that. So Happy isn't going to try and get in the main base again now. I really, doubt it, because he knows in his mind that Zergling Speed's about to be done. So at this point, this is where DIMAGA usually goes back into gas with all 3, which he's done again. But we have no additional second gas at this point. He's building 11 drones, which pushes his drone count up to about 37, which is kind of high. But more Link production, I think maybe just to deal with what's out there already.
Yeah, we've already seen that when he was going for those aggressive moves earlier, it was around that 37, 38-9 drone mark. So he's producing those links and getting those out. So.
Well, it depends on what he does next.
Yeah.
Does he add more Zerglings or does he try to expand? At this point, he's supply box, so he can't build more links. Look at that, 50 out of 52 or 52-52 now. And he doesn't want to lose that queen. Get back, get back, get back.
The Zerglings trying to catch them from one side, whilst the reinforcing Zerglings come in as well here, but does not get
nice
them in
micro,
the end.
Though.
Yeah.
Happy's been playing out really nicely with his micro, Reaper and Hellions together here. That queen, whoop, there she goes. 2 evolution chambers and 3rd hatchery. Okay, there we go.
Yeah, so a little bit out of a longer, drawn-out game here for DIMAGA. I think he might want to look with these Zerglings to try and exploit if his opponent doesn't have his wall fully up and running just yet. He might try and run on in, but looks like Happy's positioning himself well.
Yeah, star stance there. Happy knew that something like that could happen as he checks the north way here. So are we going to see Zergling upgrades then? I suppose we will, right? He's got a lot of Zerglings out already. Okay, no. Okay, has he got a Roach Warren yet?
No, I don't think so. So goes into range once again. So once he's just committed again to that kind of Roach Hydralisk style. And we'll see how that's going to work out for him. Happy, again, he plays so well against that. And with the double engineering bay on the way, with these Zerglings trying to do some damage. Oh, but a great swing in from the other side there. What a great surround there by DIMAGA. Will kill off a few of them.
Excellent surround there. And I did read that tweet. Shout out to all the people watching at Barcrafts here today. That was in Australia, that one. So shout out to you guys getting drunk watching StarCraft. But we do have Stim 1-1 upgrades on the way. Production should be coming down next to the barracks. Okay, so we're having a very normal-esque Happy style. Getting over to his mines and his Marines and a Marauder thrown in for the mix.
I'm kind of scared, though. I mean, unless Happy allows DIMAGA to have some kind of earlier lead, though, going up against Happy with a bio style is so difficult. We already saw that in Game 1, despite Happy being behind. He was able to deal with that. And look, once again, just killing off Zergling after Zergling and getting out with so many units.
Through killing all these Zerglings is, in a weird way, well, not in a weird way, in a normal way, I was just trying to get it out, is that he prevented DIMAGA from droning.
Yeah.
Because he had to keep building lings because they kept on dying all the time. So that's the pressure that these Hellions and Reapers generate together.
And I mean, with that 3rd command center on the way down, even killing off an Overlord in a great position there, he added on extra 4 barracks, which is right now a pretty aggressive level of barracks here, but still, he'll be able to get his 3rd base up and running pretty soon and just flourish with the economy there.
But no tanks. Which means Roach Hydra play is going to be very strong. I'm not sure if Happy's identified that he's playing against Roaches because the Roach Warren hasn't come down. He clearly hasn't seen the upgrades that have not completed yet, so he doesn't know what's actually been made. So Happy at the point, I feel he's a little bit in the dark to what's actually going on here. DIMAGA is sitting on a comfortably 69 drones once these 4 complete, which is pretty good for him. And good creep spread too, not bad creep spread. Yep. Pretty good.
Liking the creep spread on Neoplanet S. If you're a Terran and you push it away on this angle, then you can just say as the Zerg player, well, I'm just going to spread it up to the north. It's really hard to shut down both paths at exactly the same time, as he's killing off a lot of it at the south. And 12 Roaches in production here with Gliru Constitution, actually.
And 12 Roaches, as you say, but in the base of Happy, I was watching his factory because he should have now seen the Zerglings having 0-1 upgrades, which means Roaches have now been upgraded.
Yeah.
But he's adding on a reactor, which means Widow Mines at this point. It obviously can mean Hellions and could mean Hellbats, but it's probably Widow Mines. This is pretty good for DIMAGA. The composition he has and the upgrades swing in at a faster rate than his opponents. As long as DIMAGA keeps up production, he can hit a pretty big timing around these 2 upgrades. He has Overlord speed on the way too. His drone count's comfortable. 69 drones is fine. So all he needs to do right now is add Roaches, add Overlords, bring the Overlords with his army, and he may be able to break his opponent.
Yeah, you're right. With Pneumatized Carapace going down, that's really important to bring them along so they can try and soak up some of those Widow Mines. But again, he freed up a lot of supply for himself right now, so he's just going to produce nothing but Roaches at this point. He's going to try and push this back with a few of them, and he will do for now, even forcing a Stim out for the retreat. So good play there by DIMAGA.
Well, +2 armor hasn't come down. For Happy, this is a big mistake here. He's not only behind in the speed of his upgrades, as we can see the 2-2s faster, but he's missing 1 upgrade at this point. So even if he buys enough time to get them out, that isn't there.
And also, we're not really seeing that as aggressive drop play here from Happy just yet as well. So that was working great for him in the first game. So he really needs to make that work. But how can he make that work when DIMAGA's just trying to barrel down upon him here in the middle
of the map. See some of these Widow Mines as well, so we'll be able to shut some of those down quite quickly. He's sending one of the Roaches forward to soak up what he can there from those. And a few good connections as well. The Bio, will it be able to hold on against this whilst the Overlords come along? I don't know.
Well, there's Roaches are pushing through and there's nothing coming. You make a big point with the drops not coming down.
Yeah.
It's actually a very big point. That's how to deal with this. There's nothing to actually stop drops here. I wonder if Happy's losing focus a little bit. That couple of minutes break,
Maybe.
He's forgotten +2 armor. He's not dropping at this point. He's in a bit of danger. There's no tank production coming in. All the key ingredients to prevent play like this is not here in this game.
Yeah, these Marines aren't really going to last too long against those Roaches if they're able to split themselves properly here. The army values is around 96 to 66 supply, and he's shut down so much of his economy at the third base. DIMAGA's taking bases up to the top left as well. This bunker, will it be able to hold on? He actually has to pull back because all of that Bio's doing really good damage, but
DIMAGA stopped the third base from mining. That's the biggest point here. Yeah. He probably just has too much. He's got 2-2 upgrades. The SCVs are coming off. And DIMAGA says, what's up? We're going to game number 5 here, Happy.
DIMAGA doing very well here in game number 4. All the Bio dies off, and all of the workers have gone down as well. 33 workers have died. It's 67 to 23. He's going to try and go for the drop now, but it's just too late.
It's way too late now. DIMAGA's inside. Happy just not playing right against what was coming his way. And DIMAGA keeps his dreams alive here at the WCS Europe Premier League quarterfinal #1 as these drops come in, but it doesn't matter if they come down. It actually doesn't matter. There's Queens, there's Roaches. The main has been compromised here. It's broken down. DIMAGA is winning. It's simple.
There you go. GG. Game number 4 goes to DIMAGA. A cough in relief here as we now move on to the ace match here between DIMAGA and Happy.
I just can't believe how simple that was compared to what we've seen so far.
Yeah.
And Happy needs to, splash some water in his face, maybe slash himself a couple of times, because that wasn't the same Happy that we've seen in the entirety of the Premier League. That was a different guy that wasn't dealing very well with what was coming. I don't know if the initial, mass circling threw him off a little bit, not seeing Roaches defending, because let's compare DIMAGA's style to Stefano. Stefano always builds 4 Roaches to deal with Hellions and Reapers, and then over to Zerglings. In this game, it was just pure Zerglings. I wonder if Happy was like, well, there's no Roaches, there's no Roach Roaring. I guess he's playing a normal style here, but Happy wasn't equipped to deal with that at all.
Yeah. You're right with that. Happy in game 1, 2, and 3 looked like a different Happy to game number 4. He now needs to testify and attribute for all of that. And then in game 5, needs to bring his absolute A game. Belshir Vestige is the final map here. Happy could do it, but it's so down to the wire. DIMAGA's playing great.
It's down to the final map. 1 map to decide who goes to the season finals in Korea. 1 map to decide the prize money and the WCS points on the line here. This is important, incredibly important for both of these players. And well, it's going to end one way or the other. And it's not a victory like that. No. It's not that easy, Kalaris.
Not at all. DIMAGA's going to fight back.
Do you know what he just did then? He went into that and then just gave himself the victory screen and was like, oh yes, that's what it feels like again.
Oh yeah.
And now he's back in the mode, back in the mood, and ready to dance once again with DIMAGA here.
Things are getting spicy.
But DIMAGA, it's funny because we look at the posture of both players, and throughout the series in game 1, 2, 3, and not 4, but 1, 2, 3, DIMAGA was focused, was looking at the screen. And game number 4, he's like, all right, I'm going to slide down a little bit. I'm going to get comfortable like I play at home.
Yep.
And he just wins.
He's in his nerd position. It does all right for him. How do you play? You got a good posture when you play him?
I try to keep one.
Yeah?
I don't know if I do have one, though. I try to keep one. It is a little bit difficult at times.
Yeah, that's very, very true. All right, so we are going to regame here. Belshir Vestige, once again, is our map. And we've seen some pretty cool TVZs on this map already in WCS Europe. Thorzane versus Stefano comes to mind, with pushing across, being very, very aggressive in his expansion tactics, but then Stefano with great resilience, able to deny the Terran. But Happy is the one here that has that resilience. Not necessarily in game 4. That was looking a little bit off. But in games 1, 2, and 3, it was there. Does he bring that to game number 5?
All right, well, let's find out, because we are now loading in to the final map between these two players. Cannot be any closer. Actually cannot.
Yeah. 2-2, Happy versus DIMAGA. Game number 5, Belshir Vestige, and spawning down to the bottom right as our Red Terran. Ladies and gents, give it up for Empire Happy. Spawning up to the top left.
representing the Ukraine as our blue Zerg. Give it up for DIMAGA.
That 5-minute break really helped out DIMAGA before.
Seemingly.
It did. Took a 5-0 and decided to just calm himself down because it was spiraling out of control. We have to remember that. And that's kind of the advantage of being able to take a break. If we look at map number 2 and 3, they were down and dirty, finished incredibly fast. And if he'd gone straight into the fourth game, it could have been just a 3-1. But that breather really helped him out going into this rest of the series.
A great series to open things up here on day number 1 of the finals. Both players bringing the thunder here in this first series. And, well, Happy going to open up with the gas again.
Yep, so 12 barracks and 12 gas. This is going to enable him to have a Reaper at a good time, and he's going to go double Reaper again. This is just how he plays. I think Grubby said it the best, is that Happy, just his RTS mind, says that when I play a game, I will find the best build, and this is the build that I will use game in and game out all the time. It's one build to rule them all, basically. A very typical Warcraft 3 mindset, because in Warcraft 3 you did have one build to rule them all, maybe a bit of a different creep pattern, but overall just standard play. Yeah. And that seems to be Happy's stylistic way to play StarCraft here, and that's what we're going to see again.
You're right, and going into Heart of the Swarm, it's really helped him out. He's found such great stability in that, and anybody can tell you, in the European scene right now, nobody wants to play Happy. Nobody wants to play Happy. He is a monster. And DIMAGA, he came into this series feeling that as well, but now he's 2-2. He's tied up. There's one more game to decide it all.
Yeah, I mean, for all you StarCraft players out there, when you go to matchmaking and you play 1v1 ladder, at the top of Grandmasters, rank 1 and 2 is pretty much Happy.
Yeah.
He's like there, rank 1 and 2 always. He's got an incredibly high win percentage. I was looking at his account before when he was practicing and warming up. Rank number 1 in the Europe scene on the ladder.
Ain't nothing. Ain't nothing.
Ain't nothing for him. But DIMAGA is a guy that's kind of been a little bit quiet as of recent. The last 12 months, or not 12, I say 6 months, a little bit quiet. He was a former, I mean, he's a champion. He's a tournament winner. He's won the Asus ROG, the single tournament he's won. He's been in the final at DreamHack as well.
And the thing is about DIMAGA is, regardless of how quiet he is, he comes in so prepared to these series. Yes. I spoke to him after the round of 16 about, well, round of 32 you played great. Round of 16 was a little bit here and there. But in between that, your results weren't looking amazing. Why was that? And basically, he's just saying, I didn't care about any of those results. Everything was focused on WCS Europe. Everything was focused on this moment right now here to try and defeat Happy.
All right, that Overlord at the south side, while these Reapers deal, or the Queens deal with the Reapers, that Overlord says, you never build Marines, so I'm okay to just come in and see what you're doing. Yep. And he's going to pick up the 3rd Command Center Scout here. Very important to note. DIMAGA now knows that he's not going to be tricked at all. He knows that there's no double barracks coming down to throw him off, and I think the Overlord would have spotted just the end corner of it. So he knows his opponent, economy focus. And then we see a early 2nd gas. I don't know if that's was from saving a drone or if he's actually going to keep it, because that's quite earlier.
Yeah, that's curious.
And the reason why it's earlier is because ideally you want the Reapers to be out of your base with Zergling speed, but taking a 2nd gas at this point is saying, I hope you kind of don't see that, because I'm going to try and keep that alive and mine from it, but we'll see. I mean, it could be just a mistake from keeping a drone in there.
If he pokes forwards and sees that...
Well, he's not mining from it at the moment, so it's not too important. If he was mining from it, it would be a lot more.
He's going to push those Reapers away.
But is he going to mine from it is the question.
I think it may have just been in response to maybe even mind games. Either he was saving a drone or...
Yeah, he's mining from it now. Okay, he's just gone in. Spine Crawler coming down. DIMAGA's got 140 gas. And with 140 gas now, it's quite a lot of units, whether it be Banelings or Roaches. Has to be super careful not to lose this Queen. He could also be saving his gas for double evolution chambers too, so we just have to see what he's...
Oh, he loses a Reaper, but the Queen does end up going down as well there. These guys playing furiously fast. 380 APM there for Happy. Trying to micro as best he can do whilst macro back at home. The evolution chambers go down as well. This is going to give Happy a bit of a tip-off.
The evolution chambers were a little bit late, and he's going to lose a 2nd Queen here. Happy, good gosh, is so good with these Hellions and Reapers.
Trying to catch those Hellions, but they don't in the end. Happy jukes and jives and gets a super amount of kills there. Units lost, 12 Zerglings and Queens.
These Hellions and Reapers remind me of good old Slick Rick, as they just keep on sliding through, and they're able to bring down these Zerglings over and over here, Kalaris. And with the double evolution chambers for DIMAGA were a little bit late, because they should be researching 1-1, and they are a little bit slow, so just bear that in mind through the pressure.
Yeah, and with that creep stroke going over to the third base as well, with the layer morphing on in, DIMAGA now committing more to that Roach Hydra composition once again. And double engineering bays on the way as well, so biofocus here for Happy. Drops, 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 so important.
Looks like at SK__MC says DIMAGA!
I think he was influenced by Carmack.
I think he was influenced, may have been influenced. So far though, the game is starting to shape up a little bit. No one's died yet. There's still, as you can see, roughly, just a supply, or if not equal at this point, 60 supply each. DIMAGA's going over to Roach Hydralisk, or Roach alone, I suppose you can call it at this point.
Yeah, with that Roach Warren on the way.
Ooh, doesn't want to lose this. Doesn't want to have a cancel on this. Got to be super careful.
I think he may end up doing so. If Happy controls this army well enough, he's going to get another Queen. No, he does not. Just barely runs to the safety of that spine. Zergling's trying to push him back, but the Hellions, they've done so much already. 2
Queens, many Zergling kills. If you look at the units lost tab, he's lost so many resources already. Granted, a couple of Hellions have gone down as well, but it is in favor of Happy, who's killed off 400 resources more of his opponent, which is a hat tree in a bit.
Yep.
A bit of money.
That's good stuff. That's good stuff there from Happy. 65 supply to 66 right now. Extra barracks going down so that he can continue that infrastructure on when he gets that
barracks,
third.
Actually, that's 7 barracks here.
It's the same amount
I
of
wonder
barracks
if he's going to expand to the north and take an aggressive third base. It's something we have seen quite a few times from these
just parade
players. Because with 7 barracks, is that you're not really able to build a 4th base early. So you're not looking to increase your economy. Of course, you've got a good economy setup, but you're not looking to extend it much further in the game. You're going to have a lot of units out here. And it is good against Roach style. Yeah. It's perfect, actually. The more units you have, the better here.
Slidey Zergling. Another Widowmine there greets that as well. But you're right. I mean, if he does go for that aggressive third up to that top right position from his main, and then from that point on is able to just kind of constantly move out, but he's actually flying it over to the
left.
Yeah.
Well, either case, he's going to have a lot of units out, that's for sure. It's a lot of barracks, and if he adds on the reactors and tech labs I say because of expecting Roach play, he's going to have a lot of Marauders in his composition, which is going to be great against these Roaches. They deal extra damage versus them. So far, DIMAGA, though, sitting at 66 drones. Still a relatively equal game at this point. A few blows traded here and there, but still quite equal between these two players fighting for this last map win.
And with Happy playing a little bit more defensively, I want to say, expanding down to this bottom left, I think that's kind of a wise decision. If you're in a best of 5, it's 2-2. Risks being taken is hard. Happy is going to go to his A game, the best way he can possibly play out into the later stages of the game, because he knows he is super comfortable in that late game. He is happy. He has been in the late game more than almost any European out there. So it's good stuff for him if he can get going.
And we are starting to see drops come out, and this is what was missing from the previous game. Is with these drops, there's nothing to deal with them at the moment, which means there's no way DIMAGA can be aggressive towards his opponent. He has to be at home defending.
He's going to try and attack this 4th base, whilst one drop does head on to main as well here, trying to kill off some workers, but there's a few Roaches already well positioned. Does get 1 worker, 2 as well. Hey, he's getting a few more than I was expecting there. 5 workers do go down in total. And that drop into the 3rd. There's no Spine or Spore in the mineral line.
These drops are make or break for both players now. We'll start to see a player take a lead depending on how much damage or damage the drops don't do at this point. Again, +2 armor has been forgotten. A mistake out here from Happy.
It looks like Happy's actually moving out into the middle of the map here as well, with a big army. That's a lot of Widow Mines. So DIMAGA has to be very, very careful about engagements that he does end up taking, but these drops are still being very annoying. 9 workers have gone down. He's still keeping his opponent on the back foot in terms of positioning. And I think he just wants to try and pressure this 4th. And kill
he's going to try and kill this 4th. At this point, Happy's going to put his Widow Mines around his army so that when DIMAGA comes, the Widow Mines are, oh no, DIMAGA's bringing all his units. All right, so he needs to defend off against that. You can't just bring all your units to defend against the attack and not leave anything for the drop here. But as absolutely Happy, ideally wants to kill the drop, but DIMAGA's ready.
Whoa, those Roaches come in from 2 sides perfectly. The Widow Mines are not burrowed. They don't have drilling claws either, so that takes a lot of time. So much bio dies off so quickly. And DIMAGA now, army supply, 116 to 56.
Oh, and all he needs to do is morph one overseer, and all the Widow Mines will die there. He has to keep up the defense in the main base, of course, and off come the drones to try not to lose anymore. But Happy at 106 supply is now getting that +2 armor. Oh dear, Claris.
Uh-oh. Unit counts, 25 Marines, 1 Marauder and 4 Widowmines against 53 Roaches. If he now pushes in here, and he's going to bring down that bunker very, very quickly. He needs all his Roaches at the front as well. He's just going to buy some time, pull back a little bit, wait for his Roaches to come along.
DIMAGA, is he going to go into the natural? Oh, the SCVs are there to tank damage. A lot of SCVs will go down here. Happy's going to take the fight. He knows that he has to do something, otherwise he could lose his third, and that's disastrous.
He realizes he's in a lot of trouble here. He's even spreading creep so he can actually retreat out of position as well. He brings in a few Roaches from the other side. They're going to focus down those Marauders, really limiting how much damage Happy can actually do. All of the bio has to get picked up. He's going to take out the third as well. This is really, really bad for Happy.
2-2 upgrades for DIMAGA. A massive supply lead for DIMAGA here as well. Widowmines do defend a little bit, but Hydralisks are coming in now with their upgrades, especially against the lack of +2 armor here. DIMAGA could do it.
He's getting groove spines. I think maybe even muscular augments would be better here, considering now that he can keep his opponent on the back foot constantly. Roach is powering on forwards once again. There's really not much to increase the longevity of these Marines as he tries to keep himself stable, but the Roaches power on forwards. There's really not that much bio left. 14 Marines, 5 Marauders. The Roaches completely ransacking the natural. 145 supply to 67. Happy is on the back foot.
Happy rings the emergency bell here because he's now starting to drop. He realizes that if he just sits back, he's going to die. So he's going to start dropping on the right-hand side. DIMAGA's not mining from this 4th base, but he's going to lose his drops to the Hydralisk. This is massive for DIMAGA. 1 goes down.
A perfect position for DIMAGA. Takes 1 down. The one other way it does evacuate, but now with those Hydralisks plowing across the map, he can continue to put on the aggression here. He's going to bring a few units back to clean up this drop.
The other drop gets picked up and DIMAGA stops. The emergency bell is no longer ringing because there's nothing to actually do.
128 army supply against 35. DIMAGA powers into the natural once again. The command center tries to land to kind of seal this off, but it's not going to work. The Hydralisks march on for victory, and DIMAGA against all odds. GG! He takes the first quarterfinal here in WCS Europe Finals, and now he secures himself a spot in Korea.
Wow, look at that excitement coming out from DIMAGA. He's so happy with that victory. That was a tough game. We talked about it at the start of the series. We mentioned it, how difficult that would be for DIMAGA. And he did it, man. He did it.
He did it. That was against all odds, against everything that was said. Happy coming in as such a strong player here in WCS Europe, but DIMAGA stepped up to the plate and took it 3-2.
Yeah, I mean, what a tough series for DIMAGA. I mean, Happy, unfortunately, now is pushed down to the deciding matches to decide if he can still go to Korea. There is still an option for him for sure. But DIMAGA moves on to the semi-finals and will play tomorrow.
Yeah, we have now 1 Zerg confirmed in the top 4 here for WCS Europe, and what a way to open up day 1 here with that series. Back and forth, fight after fight after fight, struggle after struggle. DIMAGA ends up victorious.
What a great series. Such a good series by both of these players. Back and forth, back and forth. Nobody really knew who would win. Of course, it was sloppy and mistakes were made, but that's what happens when you play on stage in front of hundreds of thousands, or not hundreds of thousands, tens of thousands of people watching online, and of course, hundreds here live in the studio. But DIMAGA was able to do it, my friend.
Very, very impressively played there by him. And now he goes up against either TLO or MVP in the semi.
Yes.
That's another tall order for him. That's another tall order.
DIMAGA, I mean, just taking in this victory right now, as you can see. He's going to have a winner's interview momentarily with Red Eye, but oh boy, he must be over the moon.
Can you imagine it if we have DIMAGA versus MVP once again in a best of 5? They already played each other in around 32. I'm sure our German fans here don't want that to occur, as TLO would then be knocked down to the 5th place bracket, but yeah,
look at that. Happy he's got his glasses. I don't know if he's wearing them when he's playing. I don't think he was, but he's watching the replay. Just kind of, he's shaking his head. He knows that he was at a point winning this series, 2 wins to 1 loss. Yeah. And then the next thing we know, it's out of control.
Out of control. So guys, I believe we are going to be sending over to an interview here with the victor in the form of DIMAGA with Red Eye.
Yes, thank you very much. With the victor, the man who goes to Korea to represent Europe, it is DIMAGA after a 3-2 victory. Congratulations. You're so pumped right now. You're still shaking. It's fantastic.
Yes, thank you. I'm really excited right now.
Okay, I mean, a very long match, five maps. Were you prepared for a 5-mapper with Happy, knowing how he plays and know that he sets his game out pretty much the same way every time?
Yeah, I was prepared even for 6 map because I have only one map video, so I was prepared all 6 maps. Yeah, so every map, each build, and I was studied happy quite a lot.
Okay, so first map, you won the first map, great start, really good play, and then second and third maps went a bit differently. You didn't expect him to go mech.
Yeah, I didn't expect he go mech. He was really aggressive with his Reaper Helens. He usually do it, but not that aggressive as he showed it in second and third game. And I was just, I don't know, he was just better.
And then a fourth game and the fifth game were actually similar starts from him, and we thought maybe we were going to see something same from him again, and maybe it was going to be 3-1. What was the difference for you in game 5?
I was just like, okay, if I lose, I don't care, so I just play my game and fun it.
Really? And so you were just at that point, were you losing tension? Were you tense in that second and third game? Was that what it was?
Yeah, first game I was really nervous. I must win that game, I think, much more early, but I was really nervous, like making a lot of mistakes, especially in second game as well. I didn't mind my gas. All build orders was like delayed so much, but it's obviously because he was really aggressive, so you have no time to do this stuff. And in last 2 maps, I knew my builds already before match even started. So I was just like, okay, I will just play my map build order and that's all.
Map 4, you lost those queens early, but map 5, you didn't. You managed to hold on to them. And again, just changed it all around. And then some better surrounds from you as well. I hope you don't mind me saying that, because they were a bit sloppy compared to how you were in the last round, because you were really good with the surrounds. And then this one looks quite so good. But then game 5, everything worked out for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not much more to say after that. Do you know what? I'm going to give you a very special treat right now. We have your boarding card for Korea. Ladies and gentlemen, the first man going to Korea at the season-ending finals is DIMAGA. Thank you very much, DIMAGA. He's through. We will have TLO versus MVP coming up. He'll play the winner of that. But before we get there, let's have some analysis now from Todd.
What a great series we just saw, guys. I have so much to say. I'm going to try to summarize as much as possible. DIMAGA, in the first game, he wanted to go as much as possible for a very heavy ranged army composition and set the pace for the series with an economic start, but then going into some very aggressive play. And it turned out pretty well for him. At the 12th minute mark, he was able to get about 74 drones. And from there, he was up against 48 SCVs. He just got army, and he completely overpowered Happy. He kind of fell asleep given the situation he was in. He let Happy come back. He let Happy rebuild a big army, and he almost threw it because of that. In the end, he was able to win, but we could see after the first game, he was very disturbed by what had happened, and it showed in the next few games. In the second game, he lost versus very solid mech play. And after that, I was a little bit afraid he will fall apart personally. So in the third game, he tried for the Nidus, but he didn't execute it well enough. So Happy was able to take the win, and I thought he had gained momentum maybe. But then DIMAGA on Neo Planet, able to produce enough units again to completely overpower his opponents. We're going to take a look at the last game of this series, and in my opinion, the pivotal point right now in all of these games in Zerg versus Terran is the 12th minute mark. So in the replay here, we are at the 12th minute mark, and if we look at the economy, DIMAGA is on 70 drones against 49 SCVs. He's well saturated on 3 bases. He's already working on taking a 4th base. He has that in production. Whereas Happy, he just took his 3rd base, and even if he transfers SCVs there, which he hasn't yet, he hasn't yet. So even if he transfers SCVs there, he's just going to be able to barely keep up on economy side of things. So from there, DIMAGA, if at the 12th minutes he's that far ahead on workers, he can just pump out enough units to try and finish his opponent, or at least deal lots of damage to him. And if Happy moves out and overextend, he's always going to be in a great position. You see he has 2-2 started before his opponents. So the problem, we can start playing the replay and fast forward a little bit from there. And we see that DIMAGA, he wants to go for a fight here, but he does not want to attack directly into Happy. He's also going to be very wary of all those drops that could be headed his way. So he has to be very careful that one of those drops does not kill too many of his drones. He lost a few in the main here, but not that many. And with 2-2 on the way, I do think he wanted to go for a big timing with lots of roaches. And in the end, it was Happy who literally took the fight to DIMAGA, which I'm sure DIMAGA was very happy about, because, I mean, when you're massing this much army, in the long term, if you're only getting roaches, things are going to be getting worse for you. So now, DIMAGA, he prepared the perfect flank. He saw this small this is actually not such a big army here from Happy, but he perfectly flanked this army, and from there, he's able to trade very cost-effectively those mines, not really doing anything against roaches here. And at the end of this fight, we can look at the army supply, and we see that DIMAGA, he has 2-2 already, he's against a 1-1 Terran, 126 army supply against 54. If we fast forward directly to the end here, to the last fight, with double the army supply here, DIMAGA was just too much. We know he's a great Zerg player, but I think we can also say he's a great Swarm player because he completely swarmed Happy here. So very well done by DIMAGA, and that's gonna be it for my analysis of this best of 5. I'm going to pass it over to Red Eye for some analysis of what's going on in the social media, I guess. Take it away, Paul.
Yes, thank you very much, Todd. Todd there with the analysis. He's going to be back with us later on for more analysis on game number 3. You'll see him again, though, casting this time in game number 2. And with the Hubner, who's been monitoring all the social media stuff, we also have some very special prizes for you guys out online. All you have to do is tweet at #WCS, use the hashtag #WCS, and send us your best tweet. What do you love most about WCS Europe? What do you love most about the players? It could be a great piece of play. Whatever it is, make sure you keep tweeting throughout the day. Let's get WCS trending today, and you will then be entered for a chance to win some prizes. Hubner, show the guys at home what they can win. There is a signed StarCraft 2 game, signed by the top 8 players here at the quarterfinals. But they've also signed a T-shirt, limited edition StarCraft T-shirt, and there's a Steel Series QCK in there, which is a StarCraft mousepad. So all of that could be yours. All you have to do is the best tweet of the day that we pick out that's in the hashtag #WCS. Now, before we get to anything else, we just want to show you a very cool video. This is the moment that DIMAGA won. It doesn't need any words, trust me. Fabulous, absolutely fabulous. The emotions in both players come through. You can see the disappointment, you can see the joy, and that's what WCS Europe is all about. One man is confirmed going to Korea. He's also in the semi-finals of WCS Europe Season 1. It's time to find out in our next match who joins him in that semi-final. It's TLO versus MVP. But first, what's your favourite book?
I don't read a lot of books.
Never Bear by Neil Gaiman.
I don't read books.
My favorite book? No, I don't have one.
That's a hard question, man. I don't read a book. Don't you have like a favorite movie?
Sorry, I don't like book.
Catcher in the Rye.